Hello, everybody. So I'm going to do a demo of media queries. So I designed just like a one-page site. This is the desktop version. This is the mobile version. So a couple things I'm going to do. I'm going to put the frog icons below the logo, and I'm going to crop this image. I'm going to use actually a smaller image on mobile. And I'm going to stack these. So it goes light green, dark green. And then like in this case, if this was, no flexbox, it would be light green, dark green, dark green, light green. But what I want is light green, dark green, light green, dark green, dark green. So I'm going to actually change that. I'm going to swap these around. And then in the footer, I'm going to have the sign up come before the links, and then I'm going to center the links. So one thing is I want the boxes to have a bit more padding than they have right now. So I just want to fix that real quick. But I'll show you padding. If I do 60. That's a little better. Okay, so I'll show you quickly how this is set up. I have a navigation. It has a logo. It has a list of links, which are all the frog icons. I don't even know what this site is about, so I didn't put any links in or put any alt tags. I just grabbed stuff off the internet. So here's the header. So I have a background image on the header with an H1 that is only part of the width of the page so that the text will wrap. And then there's a section called row 1, which is the first two boxes. So this one and this one. And then that section closes, and then a new section starts, and that one's called row 2. That one starts with a dark green, and then it has a light green. So I'm going to swap them. Oh, I didn't change the text. Just so we don't get confused. Small and grip. I'm going to change that. Small. I didn't change the text. Okay. Then below that section, I have a footer, which has a div full of links with just line break after each one, and then a div with a little form with a subscribe form inside of it. Okay, and that is all. So in my style sheet, I've got our fonts being imported. I've got the box sizing border box so that our page can be layout centric. I've got in my body, I've zeroed out that annoying 8-pixel margin that's built into HTML. I've added a default font, which is Enter. I've added a default color for all my fonts, and I've added a default font weight. Then I added image width of 100% so that I'm always starting with 100% image, and I can size it down from there. I've taken all the underlines off the links, and I'm using Kavoon as my H1 font, and I added a little text stroke around in the hero image just so it stands out a little bit better. Here's my nav. So it's the whole green strip that goes across. So it's this light green color. I'm flexing it, and I'm doing space between. So these two things are in different boxes. They are flexed so that they are spaced between. So they're farthest to the left, far to the right. I added a little bit of padding just around the left and right. I didn't add any to the top and bottom. Then inside the nav is that unordered list. So this guy, I have to flex that one as well. So I'm flexing this, which is this div and this unordered list. Those are the two main children. Then in the unordered list, I need to flex all these. So I did that. And let's see, what else? Background image for the header. The H1, I changed it to display inline so that it'll wrap, and I made it not 100% wide, so it'll the text will wrap. gave it a little padding on the left, gave it a font size of 60. Okay, and then the rest is all just flexbox. So I have a class called row 1, a class called row 2, then a kind of generic one called box, just so I can like pad them, kind of do general styles to them. I wanted the H2s that are inside the box to have a bigger padding on the top. Okay, background color for those things. If it's dark green, I want the font color to be white. And here's the footer. It's got a bunch of padding on the top and bottom, a little bit on the left and right. Okay, and then so the far left is the links, the far right is the form, so that's why it has justify content space between. I want everything in the footer to have a white text since it's a dark color. I could probably put that wherever the footer thing is. There, that one. Anyway, and then here's the form stuff that I've labeled or that I've styled. So we need a media query. So let's go to W3 media query and see what they give us. Okay, we want ours to be desktop first. I'm going to scroll down till I get an example. Okay, so this one is a minimum width, which means it has to be 480 or larger. We want the opposite of this. We want a maximum width because we want the styles that we put inside this media query to only happen if our screen is some particular size or smaller. So I'm going to actually copy this. I'm going to put it at the very bottom of my file. You don't want it up here because we're overwriting stuff with it. And I'm going to change it to max width. So it has to be a maximum width, and I'm going to change it to 768 of 768 or smaller. So I like to do the body background test just to do a sanity check. So if we go here and we shrink our page down, oh, we can't see it because there's so much color going on. Let's see. I'll change the H1 to red just so we can make sure that it's working. So this is the H1. So hopefully, there we go. So at 768, it turns to red. And I can already tell that I need to change the width of that H1 in mobile. Okay, so let's get going. First thing is I want to swap. So this is like the default flexbox, which is flex direction row. That's the default. So we're going to change the flex direction on this, on the nav. So nav, if you remember, is the whole big box. So I'm going to say in the media query, so I don't need this anymore. And watch these curly brackets. I'm going to say make the nav have a different flex direction from the default. So I'm going to change it to column. Okay, and then I may just leave this small. Cool. Okay, so now I've got it in column, but it's so far apart. So I'm going to inspect. I'm going to see what's going on. So let's see. The nav has a bunch of padding around it that I actually don't want in mobile at all, I think. And then the div, let's see. There's nothing on the div for the logo. The unordered list, let's see, in the list items, nothing. How about the link? Okay, so the links in the nav have this massive padding of 26. And I'm not going to want it on the left or on the top and bottom. So if I do 2 values instead of 1, the first one will be top and bottom, and the next one will be left and right. So I like that. I'm going to change it to that. So I'm going to go here. That was for the anchor tag. So nav A, I'm going to change it from 26 pixels of padding to 0 and then 26 pixels. So that, if we look up here, this is basically what I'm overwriting, this guy. Okay, and then there's another one. This one, top and bottom is 0, left and right is 20. Maybe we don't need all that. I'm going to keep going for now. So let's fix that H1. It's very annoying. So I have it so that it's an H1 inside the header. So I'm just going to copy all this because I don't know what all I want to change. So I'm going to put the header in there. I'm going to make it 100% instead of 40%. So that should fix a lot already. Okay. And then let's inspect this. Inspect is really your friend when it comes to mobile. You can also use the responsive tool, but I do find that sometimes it doesn't work the way I expect it to. So let's see, font size. So I need to change out the background image. I might adjust the padding on the left. I might make the font size smaller. Okay. Width, margin, okay. So let's also make this 48. And then because I'm not changing any of this other stuff, I'm going to get rid of it because you only want to do the styles that you need to change in the media query. Okay, then let's switch out the background. So in the header, I have this background image. Now I want this to be the same and this to be the same. Probably even this. I'm using flexbox to make sure that the header is like vertically centered. So really, I just want this first line. I'm going to copy it and then make sure I close the curly bracket. So I'm going to paste it in, close the curly bracket, and then this one, I have a different image. So I'm going to say hero mobile instead of desktop. And that's just like a zoomed in picture of the frog. And it's a smaller image, so it'll load faster on mobile. Okay, and then these two, the boxes. So remember there's row 1 and row 2. Where's row 2? Down here, row 2. So row 1, I just want it to be, I want to change the flex direction from the default of row to column. So let's check that. Okay, cool. And then this one is row 2, but instead of flex direction column, there's another flex box called column-reverse. Again, CSS Tricks has an amazing flex box, kind of like cheat sheet. Also, I have a cheat sheet. I didn't change it to row 2. Row 2. Row 2. Okay. Cool. So the other thing is like, I don't want this massive padding up here anymore. So let's find that. Oops. That was for the H2 inside box. So I have this padding top. I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to say, maybe make it 0. I don't know. Maybe I just want to use whatever padding is in there. Okay. And then this is bugging me now. So I'm going to inspect it now that the H1's out of my way. So I'm just going to go through padding. It has this padding right and left. So what if I just had padding 0 and then these links just had a little bit special like padding next to them. So let's do that. Nav A should be padding 0. Did I already put that? Yeah. So I'm going to just change this. And then, but then if they're inside that unordered list, so let's go back. So these links are the things I want to still have padding on the right-hand side so that they're a little farther apart. So those ones are in the unordered list. So I'm going to say, let's go down here. I'll put it kind of where the other nav is. I'm going to say if it's in the nav, it's an unordered list, and it's an anchor tag. I could either do the anchor or the list item. I want a padding right of maybe 20 pixels or something. Cool. So that stretches out the frogs. I wonder if they'll be okay on smaller screens. Might be too much padding. Anyway, and then this has too much padding also. We want it to be kind of tight. So here's the H2. There's nothing there. On the div, I have 60 pixels. What if I change that to like 20 on mobile? So that's the dot box class. So then I'll go down here and I'll say, oops, just dot box, not the H2, but just the box. Change the padding to 20 pixels instead of the 60 that's in desktop. Now I have a nice, tight, like easy to look at mobile site. I've just kind of removed a lot of things, made this H1 smaller. I might even like change the color of it since it's like right on top of the frog. So maybe the H1 will have a color of white. And then I have this like stroke. Probably don't need it because it makes it look weird. Where's my text stroke? I just searched text stroke on the web and found this. It's not built into, it's not like standard for browsers, so it has this like dash WebKit stuff. So if I go down here and I say, oops, this goes in here, text stroke, and I change it to none. Whoa, that should get rid of the stroke. I think it's gone. Inspect. Yeah. No, maybe not. Still there, I guess. Do I have to say 0? Does that get rid of it? Yeah, maybe. I don't know what text stroke. I don't know how to get rid of it, so I'm going to change it to opacity of 0. Because apparently that did not work. So, again, like inspecting your page and kind of figuring out where things are, it makes it so much faster than trying to remember what you did in code. Okay, so now this is white, 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 0. So 0 opacity. Basically, I got rid of the stroke that way. Okay, cool. Oh, I wanted to do this one too. So the footer, let's go look at it. Footer is display flex. So same as that second row, I want it to be flex direction column reverse. So flex direction column reverse. And then the other thing I want to do is instead of having a left aligned link, I want to have centered links. So those are in a box called links. So I'm going to say footer links because otherwise I'm not going to remember. So footer, in the footer, find a class called links. Make it text align center. I also want a little bit of padding between the form and the links. So I'm going to say padding top of maybe like 30 pixels. All right. Oh, I should probably do the form too. I think that one's called subscribe. Yeah. Footer. Yeah. Footer. Subscribe. Text. I don't know if align. I don't know if this will align the form. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So something to think about. When I built this out, the only place I used height in any of this was in the background image, because if you just have a background image, the header won't know how tall to be. Honestly, I should probably have said, sorry, it's up here. Instead of height, I probably should have said minimum height, and then that way it could grow if it needs to. Like, let's see. Yeah, so at least it's, I don't have it like centered, but see if it's like a minimum height. At least still have like the text isn't overflowing into the other areas like it was before. And then I could position this to the center. Background position, and I'll just say center. So center it on the vertical, center it on the horizontal. And then the frog will stay in the middle. Cool. So I'm letting all these things just whatever height they want to be. It's coming from the padding, or in some cases, maybe on your site, it's the margin, but I'm not putting any heights on stuff. I want it to be able to flow like this. And if there's height, then what'll happen is kind of what you saw here was like the H1 text kind of goes outside the box. So I'm just going to get rid of this for a second. So before I get to mobile, the H1 is too big. Oh no, I can't get it to happen. Anyway, you saw it before. Okay. Cool. Okay. So if this was a professional site, you'd probably have another media query, but for our whatever benefit, and because we only have 6 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, we're just going to do one media query. I know it's a little frustrating because you're like, but what about 1024? Like it looks terrible, but don't worry about it. That said, if you really want to do another media query, what you would do is before this one, so you're kind of working big to small in our case, since we're doing desktop first, you would just add another media query here. And instead of 768, you could say like 1024. And then any changes that you wanted, like maybe the H1, instead of a width of 40, I'll do, let's see, let me make sure I don't screw up okay, so I don't need that. I would do like, I don't know, width of 80 or something, so that it has a little more breathing room on smaller screens. And ad nauseum, you can kind of get as noodly as you want. All right, I'm gonna have a link to this code with the video when I share it. So there you have it. See you later.